Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day it is you're joining us for this, the Tulsa World Scene podcast/video. We probably should add a few more slashes in there since Halloween is fast approaching. I am here with my colleagues Jimmie Tramel and Grace Wood to talk about whatever pops into our heads on such a time as this. As we said, Halloween is fast approaching, and I don't want to frighten too many people, but there is something coming that some people might find rather terrifying. On October 31st, Monday, Halloween, the McRib is back. Yes, friends and neighbors, McDonald's is re-releasing the McRib sandwich for what it is saying is the farewell tour. But the McRib has had more farewell tours than the Judds. So I don't think this will be the last time that you will have to face this, but yeah, I know of at least 3 other farewell tours of the McRib. Just curious, have either of you sampled this particular concoction?
I never have. When I go to McDonald's, now that they do breakfast all day, I usually get like a McGriddle or the pancakes. So no McRibs for me.
I've never had one, but do they give you the stink eye when you order the breakfast at like 5 p.m. or something?
No, I think they're pretty used to it at this
Okay.
point.
James, you ever had one?
I have. Not too long. It first came out in 1981, and I think they're still selling the same thing. Anyway,
Oh, you stopped short there.
I stopped
saw
short
what you
there.
did.
Yeah. And I remember I was in Arkansas, and in a fit of weakness or adventuresomeness, whatever, tried it and wasn't terribly impressed, to be honest with you. But there, and I don't think I've ever known of any. The few times that I've been inside of McDonald's, I don't know that I've ever heard anybody order one. But it apparently has enough of a following, or maybe they're just wanting to create a buzz around it.
It would be fascinating to go back and look at fast food menus from years past and see what places used to offer that kind of got phased out. Like Arby's used to have the barbecue sandwich. It was a barbecue roast beef sandwich.
Yeah.
And at one point they were selling chicken fried steak sandwiches. I don't know if it had a name, but it was a chicken fried steak sandwich. But I'm sure all these places sold something once that eventually just kind of fell out of favor.
Well, I know McDonald's has tried a whole bunch of different things. I never tried it, but I distinctly remember talk of McPizza.
Oh yeah.
She says it like she knows it. And what was another one that? Oh, the Arch Deluxe, which was supposedly the grown-up, had one of the most self-defeating advertising campaigns that there ever was. That kids are not going to like this burger. Well, that's how most people covered their need to go to McDonald's, is they took the kids to get the Happy Meal. There is now an adult Happy Meal.
Oh, does it come with a toy?
Pardon?
Does it come with a toy?
Apparently it does, but I don't know what kind they are, and I'm afraid to ask.
That's funny.
Yeah, but
Have you ever bought a breakfast cereal just to get the toy inside?
Has anybody bought a breakfast cereal for any other reason other than to get the toy inside?
No.
As a youngster, there was what was it? I think it was a Chex sugared, super sugared Chex or something. And their thing was that they would show you 9 different things that could be in the box. And so you had to, figure out, or you had to keep buying the cereal, hopefully to get all 9 of whatever they were. Now that I think about it.
Mhm.
So, but well.
Will you be trying a McRib because of this farewell tour?
I doubt it. They have offered to send them to the office.
Really?
Yeah, that they would arrange to have some door dashed to the office, and
Grace is interested now.
There's a
That
part of
sounds
me.
kind of fun.
Yes, give me your address, Grace. I'll send them your way.
Yes.
But I'm on either Tuesday or Friday of next week. They're the PR firm that reached out to me and said, we'll happily send you these, and they've done that before. And Grace, you might remember the Szechuan sauce episode that we did some time ago. That was something that they door dashed to me the day of our recording, and so.
That's right.
But yeah, I know I will observe. I think I will observe the Passover on the McRib. But you all are more than welcome to try it out, and if you do, you can share it in a subsequent episode. But let's go on to something that's maybe a little might leave a slightly better taste in our mouths. It is Halloween coming up. Little kids in costumes and big kids in hopefully costumes will be knocking on everybody's door demanding candy. Was that a big feature of your all's younger days, or do you still do it now? I mean,
It definitely was a big feature of my younger days, for sure. I would always go out with both of my brothers, but when my oldest brother was really little, he was like he got scared really easily, and so he would be way too scared to go up to the houses to ask for candy. So my oldest brother, would stay on the sidewalk and make me and my other brother go up and get him extra candy and bring it back to him, which is so funny. But yeah, I haven't, now that I'm in an apartment, I don't think I'll really have any trick-or-treaters, but that would be something fun to do in years coming when I hopefully eventually have a house.
It's still really big in my neighborhood now. And I'll be covering Carrie Underwood on Halloween at the BOK Center. So if you want to experience that, you can have my front porch to hand out the candy, and I'll go cover the Carrie Underwood show.
Perfect. Might take you up on that.
I used one of the places where we lived was a street that dead ended into a cornfield. And so there were like a dozen houses on either side. And so we just go through that neighborhood on Halloween. I remember this was in northern Illinois, so I remember trick-or-treating in the snow a lot, which was you wanted to go to this elaborate costume, and then you have to put on the parka above it, so all the people that can see is your man. But anyway, you still got stuff. Do you all have a favorite that if your younger relatives show it off in their hall, that you secretly covet it and want to take it away from them?
Jimmy, do you have one?
To me, little paydays are awesome. Give me the little payday candy bar. It's not going to get old and turn crusty and in a different color over if you leave it for 6 months. It's still going to be a payday. So yeah, I would steal the little paydays, maybe the little Snickers, maybe the Whoppers, the little chocolate malted milk balls. And what you don't want to get though is someone's homemade popcorn ball. Like, I don't know what this is. I don't know who made it. Please don't hand out in 2022, please do not hand out homemade popcorn balls.
I don't think they've ever been. I remember getting those as a child, measuring his years in single digits, and even then they were like, "Really?
Yeah.
This is the best you can do?" We did have one person that what they gave out. Granted, this was a more innocent time. Cups of punch, which they would drop into your trick or treat bag. And so, Hawaiian punch goes everywhere over all anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So yeah, so it was different. That was for sure. But how about you, Grace? Do you have a favorite Halloween candy?
I'm a sucker for like sweet and sour type things. So I love Sour Patch Kids or like Jolly Ranchers or Airheads. Anything like that is my go-to for sure. I'm not a huge chocolate person, but anything that's like gummy and sour, I love that.
Okay. Let's go dark here. Well,
Okay.
James, did you say anything? I forget.
I've said a lot of things.
Okay. Did you say a favorite Halloween treat or not?
Okay. Probably. Of course, I'm not terribly particular, but if there is a Heath bar anywhere in the vicinity, I'll probably go for that. So
Okay.
those are probably a favorite.
Well, I was going to say, let's go dark. And, this whole trick or treat thing, we're talking about the treats. Did you guys ever do anything renegade and trick somebody on Halloween?
I did.
TP the yard.
Okay, here we go.
Well, it's not
Has
really.
the statute of limitations run out? Do we know that for sure?
Well, it wasn't anything bad, I guess, but I remember in 4th grade, I think we were in school and we had just learned what narcolepsy was. And so we would go up to people's doors trick-or-treating and knock on them, and then we'd all yell, "Narcolepsy," and then we would all pass out in the yard for when they came out. We'd be like, what are these children doing in our front yard? But yeah, that's probably the biggest trick I ever pulled.
How about you, Jimmy? You look like you have some evil thoughts in your mind.
Growing up in rural Oklahoma, and it doesn't even have to be Halloween, one of the things you did as a young person was you would go spook hunting. And what that meant is you would run off with a pickup truck full of people and go out in the woods and try to scare the poo out of somebody. And we rigged it where way out in the woods, we had this one fella who had hair down to his waist, like, Conan the Barbarian. And we got some body paint. We would spray paint him, green or orange or whatever. And he would hide out in the woods in the shed. And we would go spook hunting and bring the people. He was supposed to hit a cue and then jump out and scare everyone. But he always missed his cue, but we still scared people.
I was a good child. I was adjacent to people that would do minor pranks that I always. I don't know. The toilet paper in the trees, the soap on the windows. I mean, that was probably as bad as the crowd I ran with would do. So I always have. I insisted on plausible deniability at all of these times. So. But speaking of dark, and speaking of candy, when I was one of the last times that I quote went trick-or-treating was also about the time that the stories of razor blades in the apples and needles in the candy bars had first started to hit. This gives you an idea of how old I am. And I remember coming home one year with a fairly substantial bag of goodies. And as one does when one is, leaving a house, you check and see what you got. And I was looking at it, and there was all kinds of things that I just loved. And I'm going like, oh, this is going to be so good to get home and just, sit in a corner and, gorge yourself on this stuff. we get home and my mother is waiting for us at the door, and she takes both of my sisters and mine's candy bags to the kitchen table, dumps them out, and then proceeds to open literally every package of candy, chop up every candy bar to make sure there was no thing, tore everything apart, and then said, okay, it's safe to eat. And we're looking at this pile of stuff that looks like it's already been, bitten off and spat out, and kind of going like, it kind of ruined the magic of the whole thing. But then that probably was the reason why those rumors started, was to, I mean, I don't know that I ever heard of anybody finding such things, but other than in movies.
Sure.
But well, halcyon days. Do you all have, obviously Jimmy has his plans for Halloween, watching Carrie Underwood perform. Are you going out to a party? Are the Stevie Nicks lace gloves coming out this year, Grace?
They might be. I'm not really sure what my plan is yet. But I know King Cabbage is playing a Halloween show at Mercury Lounge, and that's right by my house, so I'll probably at least go there.
Okay. All right. Well, beyond that, what else do we have coming up to talk a little bit about what actually we do for a living? What have you got coming up for this Saturday, Grace?
Something really fun. I live near North Maple Ridge, and so many of the houses in the neighborhood just went crazy with their Halloween decorations, like some of the most extravagant, thought out stuff ever. It's just really fun to see. And she said one of my sources said over 2,000 trick-or-treaters will come through their neighborhood, like something crazy like that. So they really go all out. So I interviewed several homeowners who did really awesome decorations. And our new photographer, Daniel, shout out to Daniel. He took some amazing pictures with his drone, which is super fun. And yeah, it's just a really fun story. So that'll be this Saturday in Tulsa World.
Okay. How about you, Jimmy? What do you got coming up?
I think he droned me as well, because I had him on an assignment earlier today that I saw they came in the system, and it appears they were shot overhead with a drone. So Friday we'll have some drive-in theater movie, and not just the Admiral Twin. It's getting some company locally. And then Sunday we have an interview with Carrie Underwood.
All
right. Well, we'll have an interview with Kenneth Tyndall, who is creating a new ballet version of the opera Carmen for Tulsa Ballet. A very familiar story about the gypsy temptress, the soldier that falls in love with her, and it ends in madness and death. Good, clean fun for everyone. He is from England, and this is his first full-length ballet in the United States. I got to see a run-through of it this morning, and it's going to be incredible. So that's something to look forward to. If you are hungry for something that is not necessarily coated in chocolate or dusted with ascorbic acid, we'll have a review of Hole Mole, which is a new concept from the Three Sirens restaurant group, where they're using the evening hours of the spot known as the Bramble Bar and Breakfast in the Pearl District to focus on authentic Mexican food from recipes that some of their staff members have created. So that'll be coming up in the coming days. So look for that in the Tulsa World at fine newsstands everywhere and online at tulsaworld.com. Well, that will do it for this week's edition of whatever it is they're going to call this thing. I want to thank our colleagues, Jimmy and Grace, and on behalf of them and all of us at the Tulsa World, we bid you a pleasant good day.
Behave.